Cooter. Anthony Coutifides is a former AFL player for the Carlton Football Club. He is the athlete that I have chosen, and for the reason I chose this prominent Australian athlete was of two reasons. Firstly, he plays football for a club that my family closely follows, and secondly, because of his great athleticism in the game of football. He was an adored player in the sport, and it is stated in an autobiography published in 2007 called Cooter by Tony DeBolfo that Anthony was adored for his ability to win games off his own boot. Opponents admired him for his seemingly superhuman feats, and coaches today still scour rookies of his ilk. This vodcast will provide an understanding of sport delivery systems and what they are. It will then look at how Anthony Coutifides experienced them throughout his career, paying attention to competitions, games, and major events that helped develop him as an athlete, bringing him to the national level. Additional information from Tony DeBolfo's autobiography will include differing views on Coutifides' experience going through the AFL ranks to become the AFL legend he is known as. Sport delivery systems are key components in the deliverance of sport for all. These are important to identify in every sport as they outline the pathway from local club level sport to elite international representation. They are the fundamental pathways that have been created by all sporting industries to provide every athlete the opportunity to play at a more elite level some point in their career and allow athletes with the potential for Australian representation to shine. In DeBolfo's autobiography, it shows that football was not always Cooter's number one sport. As a young teenager, Coutifides gained interest in athletics and excelled in it. His participation in athletics was sparked by watching his brother and participated in the Australian Athletics Championships. He also played AFL, encouraged by his father to play, and competed in the National Under-17s competition in 1990, making the All-Australian team. He was excelling in both sports, but was faced with a decision to pursue only one sport. Coutifides states that it was by no means an easy decision, but he turned to AFL and signed with Carlton in 1990. Sport development is the advancement and development of people of all abilities and all areas of interest to improve and excel in a sport of their passion. This development process is evident through the two sports Coutifides participated in and is analysed further into each particular organisation. Athletics provided a higher level of competition for Anthony at a younger age than AFL could. He competed in state level competitions for an Australian Championships, presenting an elite level competitor. The sport organisations involved local, state and national organisations in these competitions, starting with Kean Path Athletics. This was a local sporting club that is now folded, but was where Cooter was coached in a tight-knit group of athletes, providing optimum athlete development. This is because it gave more time for personal training and one-on-one that is needed to advance an athlete's ability. Competitions that were regularly attended were run by Athletics Victoria, such as the City of Melbourne competition, allowing a more competitive environment and competing against a broader range of athletes from all over the state. Differing between these two levels shows how sport development pathways structure and athlete success, as Coutifides was able to excel in his local and state level organisations, progressing through to national level. These sporting organisations contributed to Coutifides' success in athletics, as the intimate coaching at a local level helped build his athleticism and confidence to then perform at competitions. He demonstrates the movement through the sporting organisations, and his success shows that athletes are able to move through the ranks to become elite. The success of AFL came later for Anthony after he chose to focus more on the individual sport. He played it recreationally in local competitions before selection into the Under-17s All-Australian team in 1990, the same year Carlton Football Club approached him with a contract. After signing the deal, he became part of the VFL and AFL competition, and his 17-year career began. The structured system of sporting organisations of AFL in Australia is not as large as other sports, such as athletics, as the All-Australian team under the AFL's ruling is the highest level achievable. The success of reaching the All-Australian team in AFL as an athlete and moving through the structured sport organisations is evident in Coutifides' career, as he began at a local level club, played in state level competition, and moved into the senior league of the AFL. Each of these competitions contributed to his major AFL career, and it is mentioned in DeBolfo's autobiography that Carlton were a major support for him. Carlton played a major role in his development within the AFL competition, as they supported and celebrated his personal successes and stood by him in times of hardship. The support from the club continued Coutifides' passion for AFL and maintained his own self-belief that he could compete at the best of his ability each game. Each level of sporting organisation that Coutifides progressed through in the AFL sport had an impact of his game further developing his skills and success as an individual and in the Carlton Football Club. Each organisation developed, coached, and pushed him to the best of his ability, providing the best accessible coaching the club could offer. Throughout his career, Anthony achieved some major milestones. This included making the All-Australian team twice in different years and captaining the Carlton Football Club from 2004 to 2006 before retirement in 2007. In De Bolfo's novel, CUDA, the sport delivery systems are not addressed to their full potential. The level of success achieved by the athlete is noticeable, but it does not outline the organisations and how these contributed to the success of Anthony Coutifides. From what I have learned in this unit about sport delivery systems is that they are put in place to build and develop athletes to create Australian representatives. They build the pathway of sport development and include the sport for all values to develop athletes in a fair way. The sport development of Anthony Coutifides is evident in the elite progression in his AFL career and similarly the few years he participated in athletics. The sport delivery systems allowed him to progress through the ranks, reaching a high level of representation in athletics and the top elite level in AFL. Throughout his career, he was supported and developed as a player, creating a successful career in AFL for Anthony Coutifides. Thank you.